Facebook group, just FYI. So that way you can go back and watch a recording of it. And we're going to go ahead and get kicked off. So for those that are new to the room, every Cappers Club, here is the agenda and the format. We start, number one, with a win in your business. Depending on the size of the room, just so you know, like I am flexible with how long you go about your win. When we start getting into closer into like 8, 9, 10 people, we want to make sure, try to keep your win to about like 10 to 20 words, you know, so that way everybody gets a chance, and then we can pivot to our topics of the day. So I'll call on you to share a win. I just kind of go in order to the top of my screen from like left to right. So don't freak out. I promise you it's as simple as, you know, if your win was as simple as like you had a great weekend with friends or family, you know, if you had I love business wins over personal wins, but we should celebrate our personal wins as well. So all about that. And then number two, we're going to go into Q&A. Q&A is you have questions regarding today's topic. Today's topic is transactions. What does that mean? Transactions means anything during the transaction part of your timeline with a client, right? Week 1, we do lead gen. Week 2, we do sales and tactics. Week 3, we jump into appointments, and then week 4 is when we pivot into transactions. And so, yeah, it's something that came up on an appraisal during the inspection period, something, you know, towards the final walkthrough. There are a couple things I want to share with you guys today. And so after we get the Q&A portion out of the way, then we'll pivot towards the end of the call. I'll start sharing, you know, things with you guys that I have kind of noted down to go over with you guys. So that being said, I'm always going to pick on my KWNE people who are super used to it. Kyle, do you mind kicking us off with a win?
Yeah, sure. I have one buyer that's still actively looking, and he doubled his price point. So
he doubled his price point. All right, that's awesome. That's always nice. So yep, I would call that a win for sure. Love that. So all right, Mr. Norman, how about you, sir? You got a win you'd like to share with the group?
So got my house sold that I had purchased. My first investment purchase got sold, and I'm looking for my second one. So I got my first one out of my belt.
Very nice, sir. I love that. Congratulations. Love that, love that, love that. So awesome. And I hope you had a great weekend celebrating the 27 years on Saturday, right? So again, sorry I couldn't be there, but I hope you guys.
Let me put it this way. I had so much on Saturday night that I can't walk today. My back is so locked up, it's not even funny.
All right, so let's go ahead and pivot. And Kat, how about you? Would you like to share when you had in your business this last week, or a personal one?
Sure. Went to the Cardinals game on Sunday, and they beat the Cowboys. It was a great game. I was so happy about that.
Me too.
Oh man, I was a little worried, but they pulled it off. I was so happy about that. And then in my business, my expired listing has decided to reactivate with me. So that's a win.
That is a win. I love that. Those are great wins. Yeah, I went to the Giants game where we started out the exact same way as we did with the Cowboys game. We just couldn't finish strong. So yeah, but yeah, we always show up against the Cowboys. Apparently they got a vendetta down there on the field with them. So
I think there were more Cowboys fans in the stadium than there were Cardinals fans.
It's tough. Yeah. Again, let me tell you, walking into that stadium for almost any game becomes tough because same thing. It was half blue, half red for the Giants game too, and you're like, what the heck, dude?
Yeah, I was at that game too. We have season tickets, so yeah, that was not fun.
You're the one I need to hit up just in case you don't want to go 1 week.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, great wins. Thank you for sharing. All right, Kathleen, you're up next, up on my little row of people. You got a win you'd like to share with everybody?
I thought I was Kat at first, so I had to double check my name. Well, I just joined you guys, so that's gonna be a win. I just came from the Goodyear office, so it's been a little transition, but also I just got one of my leads that I've been working on for a year. They finally said they're ready to start, so we're meeting with them tomorrow and getting that going, so.
I love that. Well, welcome to temporarily professional partners, right? This Wednesday we'll unveil all that great stuff, but welcome to the team and coming over to us, and congratulations on staying on top of that lead. It's always great by the way, it never feels good when a lead wants to wait a year, but when that year goes by and they actually come back to you, it's a great feeling. So
Exactly.
so that's awesome.
Thank
Well, thank
you.
you for sharing that win. I love it. All right, so let's Shavia, you there? And you got a win you'd like to share with the group?
I am here. Good afternoon. Personal win, my son did his first cross-country race this weekend. He's in 6th grade, so I was excited about that and very proud of him about that. And tomorrow I have my first productivity coaching meeting tomorrow with Kesley.
Very nice. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Congratulations.
Thank
Those are
you.
both very exciting.
Thanks.
All right, so Daniel, you're around, sir. You there? You got a win you'd like to share with the group? This guy, I'm very proud of him. While he finds the unmute button, he was like, I'm going door knocking and I need a piece of value. Will you check this flyer out for me and tell me if it's okay? So I
Yep,
love it, man.
yep. I'm gonna put that as my win.
Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to steal the thunder. I'm just proud of you.
No, you're good. Yeah, it wasn't this past weekend, but it was last weekend that I went door knocking. I think I did like 87 houses. A good amount of people actually answered. Unfortunately, I didn't get into contact, but got to keep doing it.
Practice makes perfect in that department, and so I love that. Please hold me accountable, especially over the next couple of weeks as we lead gen sales tactic about some scripting that will help with collecting contact information at the door. So
For sure.
But great job, man, getting out there. That was awesome. How you're just like, man, I got to make something, so I made something. Tell me. So it was good. Love it, love it. Mr. Bertolino, you got a win you'd like to share with the group today, sir?
Oh yeah, Saturday night, good party. Met with somebody who's going to sell in about 6 months.
Very nice. I love
Just
that.
Just socializing was fun.
It's all, man, you can never go wrong with socializing. That is for sure. Like it's always Courtney and I can both tell you for sure. We'll be out and about, and it's like if you're willing to strike up conversations, someone's always looking to buy a house whenever you're out in a party for some weird reason. So as long as you're willing to talk to people. So I love that, Bryce. That is awesome. Congratulations on picking up a new individual. All right, and that let me see, Courtney, you got a win you'd like to share with the group?
Yeah. Hi, everybody. I have a listing appointment this Friday, and then my buyers should be pre-qualified within the next couple of days.
Very nice. I love that. Congratulations. All right, Jasmine has joined us. Jasmine, give me something good. You got a win you'd like to share with the group?
Just one. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I went to a women's retreat. My first time going to this women's retreat through my church, new church I joined, and totally just like, it was nice to slow down and take time for me. And even in that, I still picked up a client with somebody new that I met who wants to buy West Valley, first time home buyer, and just kind of what Bryce was saying, right? Socializing, and it wasn't my intention to go for that, but at the same time, when we hear a need, we come from contribution and beautiful things happen.
They do. It's so true. Well, thank you for sharing that. That is awesome. And Mimi, thank you for being on the call and joining us. Good afternoon. So I'm always, my mouth always wants to say good morning, and then I'm like, it's after 12 o'clock now officially. So good afternoon, and you got a win you'd like to share with the group? Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute. So sorry, my brain went to she's looking for the unmute button, and then I saw you. There we go.
Wins. Well, I have a closing tomorrow.
Yeah, that's a win for sure. I love it.
That's exciting. Is a listing is all done. Just gonna go pick up my decorations and then we're done.
I love it. Closings are great. I maybe have one on Wednesday. It depends if this I'm doing an assumption loan, or my clients are, I should say, but you know, and they're very casual about how they handle things when it's an assumption loan. It's just FYI if you guys have never done one. Depending on what happens this holiday, we may all be looking for assumption, you know, properties with assumable loans, you know. But yeah, but it's always great to get those for sure. So I love that win. Thanks, Mimi. So Mr. Duhart, Mr. Zoom user, you gotta update that name, sir. You got a win you'd like to share with the group?
I have a listing appointment, a buyer's consultation coming up.
Very nice.
Either.
I love that. I love that. I love that. All right. I think I hit all of our agents, and I got one more to shout out. So not officially an agent yet, but this is a good friend of mine, best friend. Mr. James Rose is on the call here. Courtney made sure he hopped on, and he just passed his real estate exam, the state one, on Wednesday. So my dude, James, congratulations. And I'm sure that's the win, but if you got another one, feel free. So
No, you're absolutely right. That is definitely the win. I'm glad that part's over. Excited to join the team. And so I guess I would say enjoying the taco festival with everybody this week.
yep.
Definitely a good time.
Little taco fest this weekend, which was awesome. Yes, sir. So congratulations, man. And glad to look at you already on the calls. That's Courtney holding people accountable right there, folks. So I love it. Mr. Norman, I saw your hand back up. I want to make sure I got through everybody first, but you had your hand up.
Yeah, I didn't catch the person's name who went door knocking and got a large amount of people that answered, but no contacts. You know what? Yesterday morning, I woke up to a phone call. Somebody that I'd spoken to in the past, I even know who this person is, called me, and their mother wants to buy a house in Wickenburg, and I have an appointment this afternoon. So it can come from anywhere. Just keep going, bud.
I love that. Yep, that was Daniel. So Daniel on the call, that's who that was, but love that. The great words, Mark. So I normally don't share my wins, only just because I'm facilitating, so I like to pivot, but there is a teachable moment. If you are on this call and ever still have the hesitation of calling your database, right? Like, you know, you hear it, you want to believe it, but you know, when it's time to go make those phone calls, you know, you get that feeling in the pit of your stomach. But please understand the value of being in touch with your database. I'm going to share a very detailed story. So I was doing my calls and text messages. I'll alternate depending on the relationship, just to be clear. And about a month and a half ago, 2 months, somewhere in there, I reached out to my friend William. What I get back from William is that life is not good. Okay, it is not good. He hasn't seen his kids in a year. You know, I won't get into his details or his dirty laundry, but like just the way it's structured, you know, wife, soon to be ex-wife, took the kids, split, right? He is down in the dumps, not good, right? And so I don't know about you guys, but sometimes the silliest little things can, you know, that you don't think about. But I was telling people last week on Cappers Club, you know, I made it a habit to create a smart plan that all it is remind me to check in on someone every week when something like that's going on, right? So the smart plan literally just repeats an unlimited amount of times to call or text every week, because I'm like, you know, like about 8 months ago, one of my friends, his kids committed suicide. Bad, I know, right? So I'm like, I gotta be in touch every week with this dude. This friend, you know, going through this divorce, right? Why am I sharing this with you guys? Go figure that even in the lowest points in some people's world, fast forward to last week, and that same friend William says, hey man, I got somebody for you to talk to. They want to move here from California and buy. Okay. I don't know about you guys, but I'll tell you that it is very humbling when someone who's going through a lot of shit, pardon the language, but let's call it what it is, still looks up to look out for you and refer you business. Okay, so if you are ever hesitant on picking up the phone, I promise you there is someone there where they don't have people reaching out to them and checking in on them. Am I doing it a little bit selfishly for business purposes? Yes, but it doesn't mean that our business purposes can't translate to actually being a good human. Okay, so please know how important it is for some people that you reach out to them and someone even cared to do so. Okay, because that was the case with both of those individuals, big time. Their words, not mine. Okay, now I'm going to brag about one more thing. It was soccer opening weekend. If you saw my story, you already know, but my kids showed up in a big way and it was a ton of fun. They're 7 and 4. They kicked off soccer weekend. My 4-year-old has never played soccer in his life. It was his first practicing game because they do them back to back. Freaking kid decided to go and score 4 goals. And then my 7-year-old then went and scored 2 goals in his game. And that one had goalies. And yes, exactly. So it was a great weekend. And I just got to more brag on them, but proud dad moment for sure. So, all right. Now pivoting Q&A. So what I want the questions to be is anything, you might have had a challenge with an appraisal, didn't know how to have the conversation with your client, whatever, right? Courtney nudged me and said, sometimes we know what that inspection and appraisal looks like. Are we talking enough about post that stuff, right? Leading up to it. If you don't have a transaction coordinator, do you have some things in place to remind you to tell that person about utilities and planning the final walkthrough? When's the right time to do it, right? So now those are a couple of things that I'll touch on, but I want to lead with questions first because this is a platform for you guys to feel like these different parts of your businesses you're getting direction on. So that being said, I'm going to hand the mic over to all of you. Please, you can speak up or you can use the raise hand option, down below in the emoji section or reaction section. But if you have a question, go ahead and bring them. Don't be shy.
Well, I don't really have a question, but I'll just tell you what I just experienced.
Yeah, please do. I love that.
So it was we were the seller on the sell side, and we accepted a VA. And I haven't had that much experience really with VA. Except for one other one, we ended up in Tidewater. So, but in this situation, it was comps were real sparse. I had to go back 1.5 years. The appraiser had reached out to me and wanted an explanation before he even went out, because he obviously looked at the comps, right? And he's wanted an explanation of my
value.
Purchase price. Yeah, the value, right? And so I'm like, oh no, this means, he doesn't see the value there. I better really step it up here. So I pulled out all the stops I could. I went back 1.5 years. I didn't know if it was going to fly or not, but it ended up coming in at value. So that was kind of a different experience for me, that they would reach out prior to, and then I just listed all the upgrades, what they spent on upgrades. I went 1.5 years. There was actually one pending, which I had called on, and they let me know that they came in at value, but they had concessions too. So I explained all that to him. And then there was a property that was next door to our listing, which was pretty much condemned. It actually had been on the market, and he wanted an explanation of that, if I knew anything about that. So I researched that. But all came in good, but it was just sort of a
Yeah.
different kind of experience.
12 years in and appraisals will never make sense to me, right? I got my butt whooped about a month and a half ago on an appraisal by 50K. And then this house in Eastmark, I was like, that it doesn't matter if the house is worth it or not for my client because of the assumption that the one I was just referring to. But we're like, I don't know if this thing's gonna appraise for $1 million, you know. And we're under contract for $989 and it appraised for $990. And we're like, I was like, even when you expect it, they don't. When you don't expect it, they do. You know, so yeah, it's such a pain. What I love about your story and a little twist to it. Mimi, thank you for not Mimi, I'm sorry, Kat, thank you for sharing. You guys see the power of questions? He just said, hey, do you have any information on this? And we just, by the way, I would have too, for the record, Kat. I would have gone into freak out mode and been like, yeah, here's everything, right? Like the power of a question, right? The guy probably was like, he probably asked everybody so that they do the homework for him, and it's worked out great for him as an appraisal, you know. So it's the power of asking questions. That's the reason you can game change anything that you do with someone, because you just ask great questions. So, and he asked a great one. He got all the work done for him. And that's what I heard. So,
That's true, but it put me in panic mode. Like, I better know what's going on here because
by the way, so if the world is made up of whoever asks the better questions, it's not a situation where I would be Alex and ask a better question to the appraiser of like, hey, is there a reason that you want that? Because that could backfire so bad with the wrong
no,
person.
I just get
You
the
just
answer.
gotta do it. Yeah, I love that. Thank you, Kat.
And I was grateful for that too. And then he did when he did the appraisal, it came back and there were some things that they wanted done. Like they wanted some exposed wood painted, right? And
Yeah.
so we did everything that he asked and sent back the pictures that it was done. But what I did find out is that they actually have to go back out there and take their own pictures.
I know.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that.
That one's VA as well. Is that what you said, right? Or
Yeah, it's VA.
Yeah.
And then because he just called me today and he said that he went back out there to take pictures and there's a guest house that's being rented out. Well, we had to repaint the door to the guest house and there's a tenant in there and he had the screen door locked, so he couldn't get, open it to get the picture. So he had to reach out to me again.
that was another thing.
Well,
I love this, by the way. This is transaction related, so I hope you guys are all paying attention. Don't ever expect a conventional appraiser, maybe. FHA, probably not. VA, definitely not. Okay, ready? So conventional, maybe. FHA, probably not. VA, absolutely not. Where you can send them proof of the repair being done for the appraisal. Okay, I've had conventional appraisers be like totally cool. FHA has been hit or miss, but typically not, because FHA is very sensitive, but nobody more than VA, because you're like, it's a painted door. Here's a painted door. What else do you want? You're like, nope, I gotta go out there. So
yeah.
Yep.
So
true.
I had to get a hold of the tenant so he can make sure the screen door is unlocked so they can go back out there and get a picture of it. I mean, it's gonna, if they don't get it done, we're supposed to close tomorrow. So it's like,
Yeah. I'll tell you a first for me on the appraisal train, and then I'm gonna go to Mark. So no repairs asked for on the Binzer, and then we had an repair asked for on the appraisal. So yeah, so that was the first for me. Normally somebody's asking for something Binzer wise, and so you're adding a repair. That was the first time I said to a client, hey, I know they didn't ask for any repairs, but the appraiser did. So one thing to one window. So
yeah, I had to explain that to my seller too, because the buyer said, no repairs. They're not going to ask for any repairs. And so when I said this, we have to do this, and he says,
we have to do a
well,
repair.
yeah, we have to do a repair. And he's like, well, they said they, that they were gonna do it without repairs. I'll do it, but they said that they weren't going to. I said, well, actually, we have to do this because it's a VA and VA is requiring it. And it has to be done before the close of escrow
Yep.
or else they won't close. And so, even if the buyer would do it, it's at their expense, and then there's no guarantee that we will really close, right? And so,
Yep. All right, let's go ahead and pivot. Mr. Norman, you had your hand up. I saw you lowered it, but
Yes,
what you got for us there?
I have a little secret. I have a small problem. I have a hard time keeping my mouth shut. And most of you don't know this, ha 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 ha. But I'm working on using my ears more than my mouth. So my question is, I have a listing or a buyer's consult this afternoon at 5 o'clock. I also have a buyer's packet, but I don't want to talk myself out of a meeting. So would you email the copy of the buyer's packet or take it with you? That's my question.
Ooh, I love that question. Yeah, Jasmine just said both. Well, okay, here is, do you already have the appointment? I was following along,
Yes.
but okay, when you already have the appointment, my goal is to send it the night before the appointment, right? And say, hey, there's going to be some things in here that we're going to review tomorrow. So I wanted you to have an advanced copy of what I'm going to leave with you so that you could start thinking of some questions that we can go over, right? So now, let me tell you, I don't like talking out of both sides of my mouth. I've learned over the years. I will tell you, we did not do that when we were doing a lot of internet leads. So I think number one thing, I think the lead source matters, Mark, and that's why you could probably get like 50 different answers to this, because 50 different lead sources. With internet leads, we did not do that for that same reason. It's like, if we give them that, do they no longer see the value? Because that was like our gift they were getting to meet with us, right? So now, ironically, the exact same timeline, right? So the same time that we're not sending the book ahead of time via email. When it came to listing appointments, we were sending our pre-listing packet to our sellers. But the reason we were doing that is we set an expectation with the sellers. Hey, tomorrow is about you, not about us. I don't want to spend an hour talking about how we're going to market your home because it's really boring. I want to talk about why selling your house is important. I've just sent you our marketing plan via email, and I want you to review that. And if you have any questions or hesitations about how we market a home, just make a note of that, and we'll be sure to handle that tomorrow as well. Right? So there's just two different approaches, but with sellers, I really didn't want to spend an hour being like, I do open houses. I will do high def photography. Right? With the home buying process, like, you want to get in there and make sure that they're educated on what that timeline is going to look like, because it helps them get prepared for, like, well, I got to talk to a lender. It may take a month or two before I find the right home. Like, you want to set these expectations about the home buying process. So I believe like a buyer and a seller, two different situations. So I don't think there's a right or wrong answer, but never send it before having the appointment set. And I'm a bigger fan of like the night before, so that they might not even have time to get to it to be reason enough to call you and say, hey, I don't think we need to meet anymore.
Thank you for that.
Jasmine, you want to, advice, make sure you're hosting a consultation instead of a presentation. Yep. Love that. So, and also curious to know what is in your buyer's packet. So, I don't know if you want to answer those questions for her.
Sure. So my buyer's packet is basically, it's about me and my team. Tells who we are, what we do. And there's a copy of a couple of forms in there for them to see what we're going to be talking about when we do get to that point. But those are just really small, and so they can pull them up and look at them if they want to. But mostly it's just introducing myself to them, telling about me, my coach, my team, my transaction coordinator, how the process works. that kind of thing. So, and once again, they called yesterday morning, and yesterday I didn't get that sent out because we were busy with other things. So I was hesitant about sending it out in the first place because once again, I have a habit of talking myself out of things as well. So I'm as you know, I love Kyle Christian very much. He did the Ignite thing here, and he told me, he says, you just need to be careful because you can talk yourself out of a deal as quick as you can talk yourself into it. So once you have the appointment, don't talk yourself out of it. So that's where my question came from, or why I came up with the question.
I want to jump in here if you don't mind, Alex. Mark, because I want to equip you to be confident heading into this appointment. I hear what you don't want to do, but what does that mean you need to do instead?
Well, what I need to do is I need to go in there. First of all, I need to talk about his mother, who wants to move to Arizona, wants to move to Wickenburg, 55 plus community, probably a mobile home. They pretty much know what they want, and they just rented a house. So my ultimate goal is to sell mother a house or provide her whatever she needs, and then shift gears. And when it's time for them to renew their lease, we get them into a house of their own, and I have that one as well. So my goal is there to help them with their transition here from Washington.
So going into every appointment, we want to go in with an objective of how will we know if that appointment is a win or not? Because simply getting to the table is not the goal, right? Is it to get a buyer broker signed? Is it to get them set with your mortgage expert? Like, what is the objective to know that you're moving that needle forward towards a win, right? Now, what I put in the chat about making sure you're hosting a consultation instead of a presentation, I think is something I would encourage you to like literally make this little mantra, because when you are coming from a consultation, think about going to the doctor, right? When you see the doctor, they are having a consult with you. They're asking you questions, they're listening, they're discovering what your needs are before they apply a solution. And even once they apply a solution, they say, and after this is what you can expect. What questions do you have?
Right.
Now, if you go in and your doctor is like, okay, we're having a presentation, you're probably going to be like, I didn't ask to get a medical degree, right? Like,
no.
This is not helpful to me. Like, there might be a cool nugget here or there, but that's not what I actually am needing. And so how do we stick into being in consultation space over presentation space? Just ask questions. And like literally like stay in the question boat as much as humanly possible. And the risk, and I would encourage you, if you didn't catch last week's call, I feel like, Alex, we hit this really well with how to set up for appointments. Between talking about LP Mama, I had shared some resources we use to get set up for appointments that really like get us a lot of information on the front side. But and I'm happy, you know me, Mark, like I'm happy to share all of it to help you out, okay? But I would encourage you, because you're so kind. Most of us here, I don't even have to know you guys really well to know, like, you're kind, your servant attitude, and something that we can fall trap to is going straight for a solution. And when we get into the solution space, we over explain and we're like, blah, 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 blah. But we steer away from the questions because we kind of like mic drop it and we're like, my job here is done, right? And it's not. Because we didn't actually discover the true need or the next step and help move that needle forward. Does that make sense?
It does. Thank you very much, Jasmine. I appreciate that.
Love it. Good stuff.
And I have apologized. Let me just say, like, I get passionate, especially with like first-time home buyers. Oh, so passionate that I will just get ahead of myself. And I'm like, oh, all the things. And I literally have said in front of them, like, I am so sorry. Sorry, my mama bear came out and I was just so excited. I already saw you winning. Let me ask a few questions. And I like reset it to get back into that consultation space, because having been a past teacher and everything, I don't know if you can tell, but I can over explain.
No, I just met you.
And now you know me.
I love it. Well, okay. So just to pivot, who else has another question regarding transactions, or plus or minus right before it, right after it, during?
I would love to hear how people set themselves up for success with getting 5-star reviews. Like,
I
how
love
are
that.
you? Because that's like a key component to me with knowing if I'm succeeding in the transaction space. Reviews and referrals. So is there any systems, dialogue, moments, like key moments that you make sure you hit to increase that chance?
So before I share, does anybody have any thing they want to add or something that they do when it comes to getting a 5-star review? And I love this because it does start with the transaction. I know that sounds obvious, you know, you got to do a good job for them, but this is, and when I go to share, I'll explain, but this starts at the very beginning of the transaction. So
I saw Kathleen. Be
Tell me
aggressive.
where to go over here.
girlfriend.
One thing that I was kind of taught that I've kind of incorporated is when I do the buyer consultation is just adding a little topic of that in there and just saying, this is for you. And the only thing I ask in return is just a review at the end of it. It's just like a soft little subtle comment about that. And then we kind of bring it up at the end and just do that. And then I just kind of bring it up during closing time, but it's very subtle. It's very friendly. It's just more like, for me, I treat them like family. So how I'd want to be told versus, hey, I want this and you have to give it to me kind of concept.
love that. Anybody else?
Something that I do is I have it on my presentations that I send to them both in email and what I give to them physically. I created like a little thing that says, thank you for your referrals. And it has a link to all of like my Facebook and Google and everything to be able to leave a review. And I send it to them in email, and it's also printed out in the documentation that I give to them. And then I mention it twice during the transaction that I just kind of like, I just want to make sure everything's going good. You know, I am going to be asking for a review at the end. So I always just want to make sure I get that good star review and kind of make it a joke. And then I ask them that same time as well, if they do have anyone else that I might need to be speaking with. And then at the end in my thank you email, I send it to them again as well. And then I also follow up with them at the month mark and the 6-month mark and then the year mark.
There's your model, Jasmine.
I love it. I was like my systems girl right there. Okay.
Yep. So, just to echo Courtney, really, thanks, Courtney. So all of it starts, you don't get what you don't ask for, right? We hear about that in sales all the time, and this is no different. If you understand the value of having reviews and testimonials done about you, then you need to set those expectations at the beginning so that they understand the importance of it, right? So at your consultations, yes, bringing it up at the consultation is the first place where you need to do that. But remember, everything is about what's in it for them, not what's in it for you. Okay, so you have to think about your language when you discuss reviews, right? Hey, it's okay to let them know that you want a 5-star review, but do it in such a way that they understand that you want that because that means that you did that for them. Right? Not like one of my there's no bigger pet peeve when someone like goes, you remember when like, oh, sorry, lower hand. Dude, Zoom's got these features built in, like if you hold your hand up for long enough and thumbs up, it'll actually make those reactions. So isn't it the worst when someone goes, I hope I earned a 5-star review from you, and you're like, right, Uber, restaurant, doesn't matter, right? Like when they're just so kind of blunt and not, again, not what's in it for you. It's just like, hey, I hope you know that we did a good enough job for a 5-star review. I don't ever feel apt to want to really review the business, you know what I mean, unless they really blew it out of the water. So what do? We're at the consultation. Mark, you're about to have a consultation. We just talked about this, right? And so you go, man, it went great. We explain the home buying process. We explain, the things they need to look out for. They understand why we need to, do X, Y, Z, why they can't run out and go buy a car in the middle of the home buying transaction, yada, yada, yada. And now you're getting towards the end and you're going to be thinking tomorrow or whenever the consultation is marked. Well, Alex just mentioned, if I want a review, then I better set expectations for a review. And this is what that language looks like. So, hey, there's one more thing that I wanted to share with you, if you don't mind. And of course, you're going to go, no, of course, what's going on? And you go, hey, there's something that is extremely important to me because it represents, that means I did a great job for you. At the end of the transaction, when you have your keys and you've opened your door and you've scheduled the mover or your friends and family that are going to help you move, right? I'd like to have the permission to ask you for a review for my company or for myself. And the only way I will ask you for that is because along the way, this is what I'm going to do to ensure that I have permission to ask you for a review at the end. I'm going to check in with you every Friday. And on Friday, I'm going to ask you this question. Is there anything I haven't done or anything that I can do better to ensure that when we get to the end, that it makes sense to give me a 5-star review? And all I want on those Fridays, if there's something wrong, unload on me. It's okay. You're not going to offend me. Okay. Please feel free to tell me that I didn't make a phone call, or if there was an email you expected, or you told me you said one thing and did another. My goal is to make sure that you get like top of the line service, right? That's my job as your agent, so that when I go to ask you, hopefully it's I feel comfortable asking you because I know I did a great job and you feel comfortable giving it, and not like you were obligated to, right? If you can have a conversation along those lines with your client, right? You've now set an expectation, right? I have this saying, right? The disappointment and failure in relationships all come from a failure of what? Expectations, right? You expected a review at the end if you did a great job, but they had no idea that a review was important for you if you didn't bring it up during the consultation. Now you're bringing it up at the end. By the way, I think all of us who have been in the business for a while here have all had that experience where they even say, oh, yeah, not a problem. And you're like, hey, I'm going to get a review. And then it never shows up, right? It never shows up in Zillow. It never shows up in Google. And now you're like, I'm going to, by the way, reasons that Courtney has a great system in place. Hey, you know what? I was just following up on that review. I know life can get away from us. I'm just checking in. The after is great. And you do need to have a smart plan in place, because people will forget, because it's always like, you know what, I want to do this on my phone. I want to be able to be in front of the computer when I have more time to think about it. They don't ever think about it again, is really what happens with reviews. Okay. So Courtney's plan, perfect. By the way, I know she does this because I trained her. She sets those expectations at the beginning, at the consultation, to ask and set the expectation to, or you forget when you have a stacked pipeline. That's true. Who did I ask? Who did I not ask? I love that. And that's so true, Jasmine, right? So that's all that conversation needs to look like. Hey, you know what? I'm glad we went over everything for you today, right? Everything's language about, hey, we helped you understand the home buying process, what it would look like for you to sell your home, right? Is there any questions that you have? Great. Awesome. I just have one more thing. I would like to set an expectation that won't come up until later, but I'd like to let you know now. And again, insert script that I already shared with you guys, right? And by the way, the outline is very simple. Hey, at the end of this, I would love to feel comfortable to ask you for a 5-star review. For me to be able to do that, what I'm going to do is check in every Friday with you. And I want you to use that as your opportunity to tell me if I've done anything less than a 5-star service. And if I did, by the way, I don't even think I said this in the script, but let me tell you another really awesome line to add in. By the way, and if there is anything that was less than 5 stars, I would love for you to grant me the opportunity to correct it. By the way, there's a lot of new people, new to knowing me on this call. So please know that I always shy away from arrogance, big time. I'm very conscious about it. So, but I want you to know, like, me as a real estate agent, I have the confidence that will like make everybody around me feel like I will tell you and make you feel like I know that I'm one of the best agents on the planet when representing a client. It's just not my favorite activity as a human, right? Like I love coaching agents, love running businesses. So like I don't like being an agent isn't my calling, but I am damn good at it, right? And so I know that I'm always going to give a 5-star service to the agent, right, to the client. But when you get to tell them that they have permission to tell you that you messed up, we've all had that client that you go, I don't know what's weird, right? Mimi, can you feel me on this one, right? Like, I don't know why this feels weird. Everything's going good, but they seem weird on the phone, right? Like you always get that one client that you're just like, I don't understand, like why is something a little off, right? And it definitely bugs me because I'm like, I did this, I got my checklist, I went over this in the consultation, like how could there be anything? So what that actually helped me do is couple the whole referral or asking for a testimonial or a review with what I really want. And what I really want is for them to feel like they always have permission and a platform to come to me and tell me what's wrong. Because sometimes it's not what's wrong with you, it's just what's wrong with the transaction and they need clarity on something. Okay. So Jasmine, I know you, I don't know if you're back on or yes, I saw your message. So, but I hope that helps in terms of the reviews. That was the biggest game changer for our team is when we did that. And by the way, just a little like bonus for this this topic. Let's say you've been in the business for a while and right now you're sitting on this call and you go, ooh, you know what? I haven't been really good about getting reviews from people. It's been like the last thing on my mind. You go, I've helped. Guys, just to put things into perspective, when I had my team, we had done, we were like 3 or 4 years in and had done well over like 300 transactions. And we went back and looked and we're like, we had like 3 reviews on Zillow when it mattered. Just for the record, if you're new to the business, you don't run and try to get reviews on Zillow like we used to back in the day. But back in the day, you cared about Zillow because more reviews on there when you were a premier agent and you got better leads. So you cared. So we focused on Zillow and we were like, why do we only have like 3 or 4 reviews when we've helped all these clients? If you are in that boat, let me tell you what we did and what we learned. It was so awesome. So we constructed a plan. In this email, what we did is we wrote, it was long and it was long by design because we were apologizing, we were setting new expectations, and we were rewarding for the action. Okay. And so in our email, it said, hey, so-and-so, and of course, luckily due to technology would put in their first name for us, right? But we had a lot of people to send out to. And in our email, we would go through the approach of, hey, so-and-so, hey, we're reaching out because we did a transaction together, in the past, and we're so thankful that you gave us that opportunity. At the same time, we were doing some reflecting and we apologize that we never got around to making sure that we gave you a 5-star service. Okay. That being said, we are on a mission and a challenge. We've been challenged by our coach. By the way, nobody challenged us, but it was a great, by the way, if you're ever uncomfortable with asking people for something, you can tell you that your coach challenged you, okay? Because the people are like, I want to help you, okay? So our coach challenged us to understand why more people hadn't written reviews about us. And so we do have an ask. If you feel like we gave you a 5-star service at that time, would you please consider going to this link and writing a review for us. If you are the type of person who doesn't like writing reviews because you never know what to write, maybe this will help. And we gave them 4 or 5 things that they could think about. How did you feel during the transaction? How did you feel after, right? And by the way, I didn't use the word transaction. But think about how you would word that with a client, right? Like, how did you feel during the home buying process or the home selling process, right? What's one thing that stood out to you that we did, maybe that you never experienced with another agent, or that's just stood out to you in general, right? And so we just listed 4 things that help them think about, okay, what could I write reviews about? And then at the end, we said, hey, as a thank you for taking the time to do this, if you post the review and then email us back, we will send you a $5 Starbucks gift card. We ended up getting 75 reviews in 2 weeks from the people that we emailed, and only one person, by the way, they were all 5-star for the record. They were all 5 stars, and only one person wanted the gift card. Every single person says, hey, don't worry about the gift card. You were awesome. We would be more than happy to write a review for you, just period. You can pass it on to the next person. We were baffled. Like, I kid you not, we were, by the way, like, we were like, okay, like if we get 100 reviews, we're going to be out $500, and that's okay. Like, this is worth it, right? Because it was going to help us get better quality leads on Zillow and everything. Just like this full transparent conversation. We were doing it so that we could get better leads. Okay. So from Zillow, but it was so like humbling to get so many people that were willing to do it, right? 25% of the people ended up willing to do it and not even caring about the reward that was offered there at the end. And so if you're in that boat, don't ever forget that people will remember what you did for them if you did a great job, was my takeaway from that. And also, it's never too late to ask. Guys, we were asking people from like 3-4 years before, right? Like, hey, so if you're ever embarrassed to do something, you can't get what you don't ask for. So we were willing to do that. And it was one email. That's all we sent, was that one email. We didn't even make phone calls. All we did was send that one email, and we had such an impressive review. It was just like awesome. It was a huge impact on our business. We had tons of reviews that we could plaster everywhere for like the next 3 years, right? Like, we were like copy, paste, put into a design, post on Facebook, like, so. All right. I know we got 3 minutes. Let's try to fit in one more thing. Do anybody have one more question, thought, concern that about transactions that they want to address? You're welcome, sir. Okay, then something that I am extremely trying to be conscious of. So if you've been in a room with me, right, and the whole what's gonna happen with rates conversation has come up, I do want you guys to know where I stand. I'm only one person, I'm only one opinion. It was, grand to hear Ben, Kenny, and Chris, Bill Howe regurgitate what I believe, that rates will go up most likely this holiday season. Okay. And they will, because the Fed still feel like they have to fight inflation. It's just that simple. Anything else, like if they lower rates going into the holiday season, then nobody on the planet has an understanding of what's going on with our economy. Okay. Just simple, very, very layman terms, inflation still goes up. Feds get worried. They think they fix that by raising the rates. Okay. Like that's it. Okay. So what the mindset is that holiday season is going to be brutal. I'm not trying to undersell it or oversell it. I'm just being honest, because we've already seen what the little bit up into the mid 7s did. And I think everybody felt the slowdown a little bit. Yes. So if we go into the 8s, it's by design by the Fed to slow down during the money spending part of the year, right? Holidays and Christmas presents and yada, yada. Okay. So rates will go up to slow down for a little bit to really put a shock into the system that is needed. It sucks for us as agents. Let's call it what it is, but it's needed. Okay. And then we'll come out into like March and spring, and things are going to feel exactly like March and spring do, right? Flowers growing, rainbows, and so, okay. That's the crystal ball answer, but what markers in the market tell us, okay? Why did I bring that up? For this reason. Please, 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 please educate yourself wherever you can. Google things, okay? Guys, when my client said, hey, I want to like assume this loan a month ago, I've learned about assumptions, but like whenever in our history did we care about an assumable loan? Like, by the way, if you've been in the business for like 30 years, then you cared, right? But like I'm at 12 years and I never had to care about an assumable loan until literally this last like year, okay? What I'm trying to tell you is understand what that means and which ones, because do you know that you can assume a VA loan as a primary resident individual and you not be a veteran, okay? You don't have to have VA benefits to assume that VA loan. As of last week, nope, I don't know the number, just kidding. I want to say that I think I know the number, but I can't remember if I like boxed off an area, but there was like 1,300 homes that were assumable on the MLS, if I'm not mistaken. And if that number is not right, then it's 500. I was messing with two things, but my point is there are homes out there with assumable mortgages and people who will do a second mortgage, okay? So my clients were qualified. They didn't want to buy a home for more than 800,000 based on the rates a month ago, right? They're like, we don't want a payment bigger than that. We found a property at 989 where 706,000 was assumable. So then my clients go, I don't want to spend, I don't have $300,000 to put down, Alex. So that's not an option. Called 25 lenders, guys. I called 25 lenders to find out that one guy did know of a company. He was a broker. That broker knew that this wholesale company, Jet Mortgage, will do a second loan up to 90%, assuming that the person qualifies and has a credit, just FYI, but they will go up to 90% loan to value when the first is being assumed. Okay. So take my extremely hard work. That sucked, by the way. Don't ever want to be in a position to call 25 lenders ever again. Okay. Yet that allowed them to be able to put down the difference. They're putting down 90K. The rest is being financed. The 700,000 is a 3%. Their second mortgage is going to be like 11 or 12%. Right? Like, but guess what? You know what their blended rate is? By the way, talk about language we've never had to use either. If you ever get a first and a second, you know, like I did, because I started off in mortgages right before the crash in 08, right? Blended rate. There's a calculator that will tell you how to calculate like what your rate is for the first and the second if you have two mortgages. Their blended rate's going to be like 4.3%. Okay. They got to buy $1 million property because of that assumable first. The wife is happy. She got her dream home because of this. Okay. She did not like anything I was showing her up to 800,000. She was like, this all sucks, Alex. I'm like, I know, right? I'm sorry. I don't know what you want me to do. I can't make homes pop up. And this one little unicorn of a home, and I say unicorn when it's really not, because there's 500 other assumable. Yeah. Oh, by the way, Davion helped me show them, and she was funny, isn't she? She is very direct. She is very to the point, but loves to have a good time, loves to laugh and smile. And exactly, yeah, Davion, she is funny, but she will tell you like none of these homes fit me, right? So I'm telling you, it was a game changer. And oh, by the way, it felt kind of good to be able to, you know, as an agent, right? It's like I got a whole nother client out of them when it came to the commission on that purchase price. Right? So I'm gonna be a broken record about this because new things are scary. Okay. I was not comfortable with this whole assumable thing, right? I just chose to put on my hard hat and go to work, and it took 25 phone calls to find somebody that would do the second mortgage. Everybody told me no and that I was crazy, just by the way. They're like, that no, that's not possible. And I want you guys to know that, because could you be one assumable mortgage away from teeing up your holiday season with a closing instead of not? Okay. All right. It's 1:05. I apologize for going over. We're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you for everybody that participated, for jumping on. I love you guys. If you clicked in to request to join the Facebook group, I will get those done. And we'll see you guys. Well, I'll see all of you hopefully this Wednesday at the State of the Company at We Serve. So you all better be there. Okay. 10 o'clock at We Serve. But worst case, I'll see you again in a week for Cappers Club next Monday. All right, guys. Have a great day.